Ziegler from Rochester. Ziegler or Caterpillar?
Same thing.
You don't really?
Yeah. Ziegler's the name, Caterpillar's the brand.
I have bulletins,
So that's, he got an internship there.
and sometimes I have that.
Call to order City Council meeting for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. If I could get a roll call, please.
Yes, me. Here. Grote.
Here.
Jepson.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Cronenberger.
Here.
Lindell. Montgomery.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could get a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
I got a motion from Lisa, second from Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. That leads us to public input. Public input is intended to afford the public an opportunity to address concerns to the City Council. The public input will be no longer than 30 minutes in total length. Each speaker will have no more than 3 minutes to speak. Speakers may address topics relevant to the governance of the city. Speakers must sign up in advance, must provide their name, address, and the topic they intend to address. Comments must be on topic, respectful, pertinent to city business, and adhere to the applicable data privacy rules. Any speaker that violates these rules will be asked to sit down. If the speaker refuses to comply, they may be removed from the meeting. Speakers shall not address topics that are the subject of a public hearing. All such comments shall be made at the public hearing. The City Council will not generally act on issues raised by the public input, but may choose to schedule consideration of the item on a future agenda. First up tonight, I'm sorry, I don't recognize the name, but to speak about the wastewater treatment plant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Robert Moffett. And just wondering, what odor prevention do you have in place at the wastewater treatment plant?
This is just a reminder that public input is not usually a conversation of question and answer. It's just the issue gets brought up. So if you have questions for Public Works after the meeting's done, you can talk to our Public Works Director right there.
Is there something in place for the odor control?
We can talk after the meeting.
You can't talk right now?
Nope.
Are you afraid to talk about it?
That's what public input is for, sir.
Well,
Bring up
okay.
an issue that we can
Okay, I'll
address
put
later.
it this way. This place needs something in control the odor at the wastewater treatment plant. They can't be letting the fans go and letting that go all over the city, that odor, sewer water. And there's companies that make stuff that you can have an order on there. Like one, for instance, is BioAir System, where they take they enclose all the vats and tanks and everything. It's all enclosed. And it goes into a tank where there's microorganisms that eat all that up. And then when they release the air out of it, it doesn't have the smell with it. Not to mention that having that odor, that means that fecal matter is floating around in the air. And what are they gauging their COVID on nowadays? Wastewater treatment. Wastewater, that's how they make their mark on how much COVID is around. So if you're letting that out in the air, you're just letting COVID let loose out in the air. So I believe something has to be done about it. So, okay, I guess nobody talks to you.
Jed, you want to handle that one after the meeting? I will. Thank you. Babel Gorman to talk about Hardwood Estates.
Good evening. Tonight on your agenda, there's the Hardwood Estates. And from what I can tell, it's basically being funded by public money. And we're dipping into the Municipal Reserve Fund. Anybody know what that is? For the tune of $1.1 million. And a couple $100,000 out of the general fund. And since you people represent the taxpayers, I'm hoping that maybe somebody will discuss some of this and to when the money's coming back. Because from what I can gather, it's going to be reinvested and reinvested. And Steve, you mentioned about Leon Enders investing in our community. How would you like to invest in a community with your own money, only to be in competition with the city and the free giveaways and like the free money? And by free, I mean it's interest-free, or so we think. So there is a cost to all of that money, and somebody's picking up the tab. Now, I know that you're thinking that, well, we're going to have affordable lots. At whose expense? The taxpayers, because they're the ones that are funding this. When generally, those of us that do develop land go to a bank or use our own money. And when you talk, Steve, about investing in the community, this isn't the first time. It's been done for years around here. Back after, in the early 2000s, there were people that invested, and the lots are still sitting up there, and you gave them away. Again, they've been given away like 3 times, okay? And it costs money to do this, and it's a gamble. So now you're gambling with the taxpayers' money. And just for a little footnote, I invested in your industrial park to the tune of about $250,000 back in like '02 or '03. Only to have the city turn around and start giving property away 2 years later. And that's my fear here, is that this isn't the end of the public participation. There's whack and sack fees that you may give away, as you did at Keller Bartman. And it goes on and on and on. So it's not a level playing field when Mr. Enders comes in and develops his property with his own money versus the city doing it with the taxpayers' money. So please at least discuss the possibility of return on investment, if you know what that is.
Moving on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items may be adopted under one motion as presented or may be removed for discussion and resolution as council business. Item A, just and correct claims for the accounting period that ended on September 28th. Item B, meeting minutes for the September 19th City Council meeting. Item C, Resolution 2704, accepting a speed trailer donation from Goodhue County Sheriff's Office. Item D, Resolution 2705, accepting a monetary donation of $3,120 from the family of Marilyn Flom to the Parks Department. Item E, introduction and first reading of Ordinance 398, an ordinance of the City of Cannon Falls, Minnesota, authorizing the sale of property. Item F, second reading and adoption of Ordinance 397, an ordinance of the City of Cannon Falls, Minnesota, amending City Code 152.355 relating to signs. Item G, approval of new tobacco license for Speedway. Item H, approval of pay request number 1 for the 3rd Street lift station. Is there anything that the council would like to pull down?
Item A.
Item A? Okay. Anything else from the council? Hearing nothing, I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion from Steve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Approving our consent agenda. For council business, then, we'll move the just and correct claims to item A, and then we'll move the resolution 2706 to B. So Diane, item A.
Just a couple questions. On page 3, Fund 235, Economic Development, it says Knightberry Title 450. Is that for the property over by the bridge?
I can answer that. So when we did the title work for splitting the Steiner Carstensen property, we had to do a title search on that. And so we paid Knightberry, and then Carstensen actually is paying us, they paid us back. So I don't know if that'll come in as a line item showing that Carstensen is
We don't get revenue.
reimbursing, right. So anyway, but that's what
That explains it.
that's what that line item would be.
Okay, thank you. And one more. On page 4, Fund 41470, 72nd Avenue Way. Preliminary, is that, when we talk about that project, we haven't actually seen bids or anything on it, correct? So this is just the preliminary of what needs to be done on that gravel road? Okay.
You approved Bill to move forward with that.
Right. But we haven't seen anything other than, we haven't actually seen anything yet.
We're going to begin in the process at the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. Without further discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve item A, the just and correct claims from the accounting period.
So moved.
Motion from Derek. Do I have a second from Diane?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Moves us on to item B, Resolution 2706, receiving bids and awarding contract for Hardwood Estates Second Subdivision. Neil or Laura, who would like to start?
I can start. Bill can explain the bids. We opened the bids on September 27th. The low bid was Albrightson Excavating and with $1,245,857.20. There was actually 18 bidders, which was kind of remarkable. We've never seen, as Bill stated in his career, he's never seen that many bidders. We had a lot of competition. So, as you could see in the bid tab, I don't know if Bill, you got anything else to add to that?
Probably the only thing I would add, Mayor and Council, is the cost opinion was $1,450,000, so about $200,000 under our estimate, which is, I don't know, seems like about the first time we've bid a job in the last couple of years we've come under. One of the things we ask ourselves is why? Why were we under? And was there a lot of people under? So there's a lot of people under bid, or I'm sorry, under the estimate. And what we've been told by people is this was a very good construction year, meaning it was dry. A lot of people finished their work. They finished their work early. So there are a lot of people working for fall or winter work. So oftentimes when we come into the fall, people are still scrambling to finish last year's jobs. So they're actually anticipating they will start work this winter. It's kind of rare to have a winter project, but the conditions are right. So from a cost perspective, I think us, our staff, we're super pleased with the bids. So it's really good.
Great. Questions, discussion from the council?
I have lots, but I don't want to hog it.
Well, if there's nobody else, go for it.
Okay. In the 2020 audit report, I found lots of different funds. I did not find anything called the municipal reserve. Is that actually just part of the general fund?
No, that was started when I got here.
How much money is actually in there? I mean, because I couldn't find how much was in there. Well, shouldn't that have been in the audit?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
But every year you approve $430,000 for that. It's for construction projects. That's how, when I got here, that I managed to put things together. We slimmed down the city, and we, as you can recall, we're starting to pay for projects instead of bonding, and that's how we're doing it. We were fortunate enough to have the PFA bond fall off of the sewer, so the sewer that was about $1 million. The water had, I believe, $365,000 bond fall off a year or two ago also. So with the combination of all them funds, we pay cash for these projects, such as Bill's second phase, or our second phase of the reconstruction project, the sewer fund, which would have paid $1 million this year for a bond payment 3 years ago or 2 years ago are now going to pay cash for that lift station and river crossing, because that was about $800,000. So timing was right to put together a good system, and that's how we're doing it. So
how much actually is in the municipal reserve right now?
with the transfer for this year, 1.2 or so. Right
So this
around-
will pretty much wipe that out.
Yeah. And then next year, there will be another 430,000 that you already approved.
So then, I know that the Third Street Bridge, Cannon Street project originally was estimated a little over 1.2 million, and you thought that might actually go up. And there's only like 264 of assessed things on it. So where is that I mean, you said the lift station's coming out of the stormwater fund?
Sewer fund.
Which they think they call disposal fund then on the audit?
Well, you can, yeah,
I mean,
it's,
That's what I was trying to guess on what they meant in the audit.
yeah.
And because as of the end of the year, that was 876. So that's going to kind of wipe that out then?
But every year,
Put money in, correct?
absolutely. And
Where is the money then going to come for the Cannon Street, 3rd and 4th Street?
so a portion of it will come out of the sewer, a portion of it will come out of the water. Whatever is allocated to it, a portion will come out of the stormwater fund we have. There's about 800,000 in the stormwater fund, give or take. Now, I'm rounding numbers to the point where I don't have them in front of me, right?
No,
So-
658 at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think there's 700 and closer to 800,000 in there right now. So I don't know I just asked Bill here last week to send me a engineer's estimate on the project of where the money is going to be allocated: sewer, water, stormwater, streets, curb and gutter. So I'm working on that, but we'll have enough to cover that also.
And then I am assuming that being 72nd Avenue Way, if I can keep getting that street right, being it is a gravel road right now, so technically we can't have a development leading off of a gravel road. Are we going to have to get that finished before we start on the other one to kind of,
They'll probably go simultaneously, and I would imagine the contractor that bid this project that we're talking about probably will bid this one pretty hard. That's coming up, that we're going to talk about at the next meeting.
do we have any guesstimate on how much the street part of the 72nd is going to be?
Yes, I don't have it in front of me. Probably the key thing on 72nd Avenue Way is all of those improvements are eligible to be 100% assessed. So when I say eligible, meaning we haven't come to the city council yet for you to provide direction on how much you want to have us assess. But all of that would be eligible to be completely at the homeowner's cost. And there'll be a philosophical discussion that we're going to have in 2 weeks about how much should go to them, should the city pick up some? And actually, we'll be going to the finance committee before that to discuss this. So when we come to the council in 2 weeks, we'll have a recommendation from the finance committee.
Because I still look at that and thinking, most of those, 5 of those houses went up in the last couple of years. How did we ever allow them to build a house on a gravel road?
I don't know.
'Cause
You
they
might
had-
want to talk to previous councils.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it had to go through get a permit.
I don't know. That's,
Yeah. My whole fear on this whole thing is, this is a huge chunk of money. I know we supposedly have the money on hand to do it and do the remaining part of the 3rd Street Bridge on Cannon Street. it does appear, though, that that's going to severely hamper, I mean, as I ride around town, I do know there's a part of me that wants to say, you know, the east side got their streets all nicely done, the west side got their streets nicely done, and the north side, you know, Viking Avenue, Evergreen, those streets are really in need of an upgrade. And I don't know what our schedule is for street repair, but we do have some that really need to be worked. That alley behind the post office is atrocious.
That's on the list for
Patched
next
it.
year.
No, the alley behind the post office, no. Around the post office, right?
Yeah,
Library, yep.
we put that on the list for next year.
Okay, do we have enough money?
We do 2 to 3 alleys a year.
Okay. And when are the rest of the streets on the agenda? I know.
Do we have other questions that are regarding Hardwood Estates? Because this seems more like finance and road project questions for the future, which are fine. But we're talking about Hardwood Estates and receiving the bids and awarding that contract of which we got.
Which is
So-
financial.
But can we stay on that subject?
Okay,
These are all
yeah.
finance questions and they're all good.
Yeah.
But they're not pertaining to the project that we have on our
okay,
agenda.
then I'll just sum up by saying, it's not that I'm against the project itself, but I am definitely not comfortable with using taxpayers' dollars to fund it, when I think there's other projects that are more needed for our city. And I'm done.
Any other questions or comments from the council or discussion? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2706, receiving the bids and awarding the contract for Hardwood Estates, second subdivision.
So moved.
Motion from Lisa. Second from Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Do we need to do a roll call vote? Or was that a 3-2?
2, 3, 4, 2.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear Laura.
Aye.
Okay, so it was a 4-2 vote for the record. All right, it's approved. Moving us on to reports. Chamber of Commerce is not present. Joint Powers Trail Board, if anybody would like to speak on that.
Sure. They put out their 2022 annual report. I don't know, was that a pre-report or was that the final?
That was the final.
Okay. They're looking to get a water fountain replaced on the trail. Scott's looking how to finance it. And they're going to remove some buckthorn.
Mm.
Yeah.
Are they going to do that with chemical or with goats?
Neither.
Neither.
Do, what was it? A machine. It's going to
Oh.
grab and pull.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Different. I know. I was hoping for goats.
Yeah, I was hoping for goats too. Give something people on the trail to look at as they go.
Right? As they goat along.
Goat. Anything else from the Joint Powers Trail Board?
No.
Okay. EDA, our item was here, and if you'd like to add anything, but it was the resolution that we just approved. So, all right. Department heads, Jed, anything you'd like to bring up?
Yes, next week, starting October 9th, Public Works is going to start flushing hydrants. I'll probably spend the next 2 to 3 weeks flushing hydrants. So if you do end up with a little bit of yellow water, that's the reason why.
Okay.
Our Streets and Parks have installed 2 new signs, one at Eastside Park and one at Riverside Park. They look amazing. And they're working on the 3rd sign, which is more for the trailhead, but over there in the park, that corner of the parking lot by the pay station for the trails. The pool parking lot, we were hoping was going to get paved last week due to the rain. It's been pushed off to either later this Friday or first of next week. So, and then my last thing I want to mention is they have finally bored through underneath the river for the sewer line. They have run into a few different issues, but they finally got through it, and they're most likely going to pull pipe tomorrow. So they will be blocking off Water Street for up to 4 hours while they pull that pipe through and under the river. So, and that's all I have.
Regarding the pool, today there was an event at the fairgrounds. There were people parking there. They were told that it was graded and stuff, so it was okay, no
It's
damage or
fine.
anything. Okay.
Only helps with compaction.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bill, anything you'd like to add?
Well, as we mentioned, 72nd Avenue Way, that feasibility report will come to the council meeting in 2 weeks. And then the only other item is the John Birch Park Wall project will be initiated or starting. We'll actually hold our staff and Friends of John Birch Park kickoff meeting next week.
Great, awesome. Laura, anything you'd like to add? Chief?
So tomorrow morning, the school is doing Walk to School Day. So if you live to the north of State, you may see just some disruption. If you use Hoffman from 1st to 4th, again, you'd see some disruption along there. But just please be patient. The kids move pretty fast, at least at the beginning. Yeah, but it's a good time for the kids, the teachers, parents, and staff that join in on that. So tomorrow, Jeremy and myself will be assisting with traffic control, and they always bring flaggers and stuff too. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you, Chief. Sarah, anything you'd like to add? Neil, you good? Laura, anything you'd like to bring up? Lisa?
No.
Ryan? Nope. Derek? Diane?
Hey, twins?
There you go. There you go. 2004. Lots changed since then.
I can't find my Homer hanky.
Steve, anything you'd like to add? All right. I've got nothing as well. So, thank you, everybody. I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Lisa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.